What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Billy Bogus, owner and founder of American Detailer Garage, and I am not a YouTuber. We are working this platform that we've been on Facebook for a decade, coming over to the YouTube channel to garner a bigger, broader audience, and to tell you guys about the changes that I see coming in the industry. We'll tackle all those things as we progress along with the American Detailer Garage channel. Today, and I mentioned in the last video that the next video I was going to make was to talk about the difference between a forced rotation polisher, a dual action polisher, and a rotary polisher, to break those down. Today I'm going to do kind of a basic overview, and we can dig deeper into the weeds of this as time goes on. We're still kind of testing out and seeing how our video content is going to look and how it's going to sound to best serve you guys. So today, the dual action polisher, that's what DA means, dual action, right? Dual action means that the machine, the action of the machine is going to rotate and it's going to oscillate. So if you look at this backing plate, I'll put it on slow motion. All right, you can kind of see how it's got a wobble to it. All right, that's because there's a counterweight offset in there, and we're going to talk about that with the whiteboard today. So what we have here is several machines. There's plenty more. These are just a few that I grabbed to kind of go over them. Starting with the rotary. The rotary polisher, what is that? It's a rotational polisher right here. What that is it's a direct drive. This pad is going to spin and rotate, meaning if you get too close and you have a big beard, you no longer have a big beard, right? It will snag it and take it off. It will snag your shirt. It does not stop. It does not bog down. It's almost like a gear to gear, if you will. In fact, it is. Like a rear end on a car, it's just going to continue to turn. This machine is typically called the high-speed buffer, and this is the one everybody's afraid of because it might burn paint. Throughout the series of our training videos, we're going to break this down and hopefully break down the fear and bring more comfort to you and the rotary polisher. That is that. This is a forced rotation. This is actually my custom hydro dip. 3401 from Flex. It's known as the Beast. This is an 8mm throw forced rotation. So what that means is it's a gear to gear, right? There's no offset, there's not a free-floating spindle in there. It's actually a geared action, and you can hear that as I'm turning it. This also will not bog down. It's going to give you an 8mm throw. I'm going to go over that in a second. And you can bear down on this. It will not stop. It will not bog down. So it's almost like the second little cousin to the rotary. If you were only going to have two machines in your shop, the rotary and a forced rotation polisher, they're very similar in how the two of them work, because as you're working on a panel, working on an edge, you can burnish that edge, you can work into that edge without the fear of the machine stalling out, and therefore messing up your correction work. These three here are dual action polishers that are on what we call a free floating spindle assembly down inside here with a counterweight. So it's going to look something like this. Okay, this being the backing plate, the circle is the rotation. This is the orbit, so it's going to rotate and orbit, two actions. Forced rotation, meaning the gear to gear, right? It doesn't float on a spindle, but when you go to the DA, it does float on a spindle. Inside there, like I said, there's a counterweight inside there, which when the machine is going, it's going to get that oblong throw. And the meaning for that is basically you can get the rotational like you do on a rotary, and almost like the hand motion, right? Instead of spinning just true, you kind of get that motion. So they say that a dual action polisher will leave some holograms, but the human eye cannot detect it because of the way our eyes and the way it bends light. So if you want to nerd out on that one day and get a little bit deeper. This is also an 8mm stroke machine. The throw, the stroke, however you want to put it, it usually comes in four main throw distances in millimeters. So at 8mm, at 12mm, a 15, and then finally a 21mm. The 21 being more aggressive, the 8mm being less aggressive. So what that means is the throw, and I've kind of got this lined up down here. You're going to have your counterweight inside there. That's going to force that to the outside. Do you ever go to the fair and you remember the scrambler? Somebody my age might remember the scrambler, right? It circles and spins you and it throws you out and brings you back. All right, it's similar to that. You got the counterweight that throws that out, brings it back. These hash marks that I've made right here, and I actually took a tape measure and measured these out correctly. Say this is the edge of your backing plate, say, right? And 8mm means it's going to throw it out that far. 12mm, it's going to throw it out that far, 15, and then obviously 21. Where this is important is when you get into confined areas in your body panel, okay, is right here. If you're working in tight quarters, you might want to go with that 8mm or perhaps the rotary that has 0 offset throw. It runs true. You can put a 3-inch pad on the rotary. You can put an extension on there. We're going to go over all that in time. I'll explain it make more sense. So if we're working up under a mirror on a door panel and you're here and your panel's here, okay, may not be a good idea. That 21 you're going to have to watch, because it's going to throw out and then you're going to bang against the plastic or bang against the paint, and you can really do some damage if you're not paying attention to what you're doing. The 21 millimeter throw, the 21 millimeter stroke machine is pretty much designed for big flat panels where you're going to get a whole lot of correction and material removal done at a faster rate. I think the 15 is probably the perfect spot if you're going to use a true dual action polisher. Okay, so this is an 8 millimeter. This is my bar jack 15 millimeter. And once again, from the outside of that pad, all right, 15 millimeters out is how that offset's going to throw. You need to know where you're at in the polishing phase so this doesn't go up, protrude, and start beating on plastics. God forbid that happens on an expensive car, but at least know your machine, know the limitations of it. And then also, if you're working in a confined area like this, I don't like a dual action in that regard. Even the 3-inch, I don't like it because it doesn't spin true. It's going to get an oblong throw, which means it's going to beat and bang around. I don't like that. That's where I do recommend going with the rotary, maybe the PE8 from Flex. It's a small micro rotary that you can get in there and run true. All right, these are all things that we're going to go over. This is my little Flex PXE80. This is a 12 millimeter stroke. Okay, I really like this machine. It's a workhorse. And yes, 9 times out of 10, I get in a small confined area or I'm working on headlights, I'm going to run this machine. But you'll notice, and I'll even show you, you get too close in, he's beating up against here, see, right, and that's just the counter throw. That's what's doing that. And you can kind of see, as I turn the machine off, watch how it settles. You can kind of see that oblong pattern. Use whatever you like, whatever you feel comfortable with. I'm just explaining this for the first time guy that ever picked up a machine, all the way to the seasoned veteran. These are my thoughts, the ins and outs of how these things work. We will do more videos on this. I think it's an important thing to tackle when people try to figure out what's the right machine for me instead of all of them. I have a lot of machines in my shop, but it's been spanned across 30 years, and I didn't necessarily buy all of my machines. Right? I've worked with other companies before, and I've been blessed to have some machines given to me and the machines to test out, and I still do some testing development for some tool manufacturers. That is pretty much going to sum this up. The rotary, in short. Direct drive, 1 rotation, does not stop. Force rotation, you're going to get the rotation. You're going to get the orbit. It does not stop. DA, dual action polisher, free floating spindle bearing. You can spin it with your hands just like this. Okay, where you'll notice the forced rotation, you cannot do that. But I can turn it. All right. Again, 8 millimeter, 12, 15, 21. Over time, we'll go over each and every single one of them individually to help you figure out what is the best course or method for you to achieve the results you're looking for throughout the detailing process. Thank you guys very much for checking out this video. Just trying to keep it short and sweet right now. The next video that I'm going to make and put up here is going to be in response to a question. Somebody says, Billy, how do you do an iron decon with a rinseless wash method? Excellent question. I'm going to tackle that in the next video, so make sure you catch that. Give us a like, a share, tell your friends about us, and we look forward to meeting up with you in the next video and then sharing to all the new people that's just finding this channel and figuring out we really don't know what we're doing with the YouTube channel. Have a great night, everybody. We'll talk soon. Is that a good video?